Hello, welcome to the Limelight Sessions. I'm joined here with Chris and Matt from Midasuno, who recently come back after a pretty long absence and 17 years of not releasing any form of music.
Couple of years, aye?
Yeah, about 17, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2007, I think the album came out, yeah?
Would be, I think.
17 years.
Jesus, a while around.
17 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were young kids then.
So what I sort of firstly wanted to go into was how did this all come about and how long had it been in the pipeline? Because it was a surprise to me.
I think we sort of started talking about it. Gav sort of reached out first about it to us, all individually. And we were kind of talking about it for about 6 months, like this, probably the start of last year, and then we started talking about it. And then it was like waiting for everyone to be like, give it a go ahead. We got a little group chat going and started talking, and it was really nice. It was really natural. It was like, you know, there was a long time where we didn't really mention doing band stuff. We were just catching up and chatting and pissing about and having a laugh. And then it just sort of organically turned into that then,
Yeah, I think one of the prompts was there was an anniversary for when Bulls Play God or Art of Fear or something.
That's what
Someone
it was.
had shared it online that it was X amount of years.
20 years, I think. Was it 20 years?
Yeah.
And then you all got talking like, did you know it's the anniversary of?
Someone tagged us, and then the conversation was all bloody hell. Can't believe it was all that long ago. And then every now and again, someone pops up and is like, "Oh, do something." It's been like, "Oh, it'll never happen." And to an extent, we thought that might be the case this time.
Yeah. Obviously, the logistics of it all as well, with you all not being in the same sort of
it's not easy.
country, and
it's not easy at all.
Bring all that into it as well, I guess.
But we've been able to make it work. And when it was the 20-year anniversary of When Bulls Play God, we were surprised how much sort of traction it got online. There was like loads of shares and likes and all of that bullshit, and it got us to be like,
got the momentum going for everything.
Maybe there are still people out there that give a shit like.
Yeah.
And we just got excited at the thought then of maybe we could, because I know we'd done the sort of 2 reunion shows in between, but I think we were happy with those. Neither of them were we. Oh, you didn't do the first one.
No, I didn't do the first one.
Didn't
do the first one for one reason or another. And it's just about being in the right space at the right time. And I think I wasn't necessarily in the right place for it. And I felt like if I did do it, I'd be doing it for the wrong reasons. So I think I was like, well, I'm not going to stop anybody doing it. So I said, look, reach out to Steve if he's game, crack on. And that was great. I think the only frustrating part for me about that first one is that I wouldn't need to watch it because it almost put me back the fan side of the fence rather than being the band side of the fence.
Yeah.
It would have been class. But then later on, obviously, the sort of tragic news about James McLaren. We got started talking again over that, and then obviously Scott announced he was moving abroad, so we were a bit like, well, now's the time. Let's do something in memory of James, and it did feel right to be all in then.
It was you and Steve in the same band at the same time as well.
But similarly, and I mean, it's probably been easier to get us all in the same place at the same time now with Scott in Australia, having the other side of Wales, than it was then, because we didn't practice all in the same place all at the same time for that one.
We had, like, the intentions all right, like doing it for James and stuff, and, you know, especially it was, with the thought was it's like a send-off for Scott as well and all of this, and which was cool. We did it for the right reasons and stuff, but the actual preparing for it, it was just a fucking nightmare, to be honest. Like Chris was saying, Scott was in Brighton. He was living in Brighton at the time. And he was sort of back and forth doing bits and pieces and stuff, but he was so busy and we were all busy. And it was, I don't think we didn't have one full band practice before that reunion show.
There was always someone missing. It was either perhaps I couldn't make it, or Scott couldn't make it, or Gav couldn't make it, or Pipes couldn't make it. But like I said, we wasn't all of us in the same room at the same time. So we sound checked.
A couple of sound checks before going on, and
just literally what it was.
Straight into it sort of thing.
Yeah.
Muscle memory and a lot of.
So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, but we look back at it now to the sort of the performances we're putting in now, and it's like, we weren't firing on all cylinders, hadn't we? And it's annoying. So it's nice to be able to do this now, where, you know, you don't realise how much, like when you've got a clear head and everybody's focused on the same thing for a change. How fucking good we were. or could be live, you know? It's like a different machine, it's like we never sounded before, which is it's really cool, and it makes it exciting to do it again, like.
Definitely. Yeah, so when obviously the sort of it was put out there of you playing music together again, was there any thought at the time of making new music?
Pretty much straight from the off. It was one of the things
that
that
you
was
started speaking about it, like.
Yeah, one thing that we didn't want to be considered was like, you know, the whole nostalgia act thing. We didn't want to come back and be flogging a dead horse of material that's like 17, 20 years old, you know what I mean?
It's more a continuation of, rather than just a reunion and a greatest hits. And...
It's exactly that. It's just like picking up pretty much where we left off, isn't it?
Yeah, so when we were talking about it, and like the biggest buy-in was always going to be getting Scott on board for it, and obviously there's a lot of weight on the shoulders then when you are primary songwriter, but he was like, yes, and by the way, I've got these songs.
So he's already sat on a bag.
He's already been sat on stuff, and I mean, some of it has been stuff that is literally as if you press pause whilst we were working on them before we split, and it's what would have been the follow-up anyway. Some of it's nastier, some of it's darker, some of it's more melodic and big sounding, and it just all sounds like a Midasuno record, which is why it's never seen the light of day under any other guise, and now's the right time to start working on it and pulling it together, but it's a lot more collaborative now.
It's like leaner and meaner, isn't it? We've sort of cut the fat out of it. Like everything is sort of, you know, everything you want from a Midasuno song is in there, but it's not like, it doesn't need to be 7 minutes of it and 40,000 song ideas all in one, you know what I mean? We've everything's got a little bit more, like the everything's bigger, leaner.
Streamlined.
Yeah. And it's great, man. I think we did need, I don't think that what we're doing now, I don't think that's how we would have sounded if we just carried on back then, you know? Like it needed that break. Everybody matures, everybody became better musicians and writers and everything and stuff, and it needed that. It needed like literally fresh years all round to carry on with it, like. Yeah. And it's worked really well, I think, so far.
Yeah, definitely.
So you're still sort of working through a pile of ideas at the moment, bouncing back and forth and things, and...
Yeah, we've got, Silhouette's out, and we've got the follow-up single we're looking to put out, I think, October, November, towards the end of the year sometime.
End of the year, yeah.
We're just about to go back in the studio and finish that off now. And yeah, we've got about 4 or 5 ideas that Scott sent over that we're going to start knocking about next week or week after. And I think the aim is whip everything into shape and try and get into the studio sort of early next year and start recording. Yeah.
So yeah, in to do the mix down next week, and then that's another one down. It's a matter of just having stuff ready to go so that when we got release schedules and release cycles, and we're trying to do it properly this time, and rather than rush stuff together or run out of time or compromise, it's well, we haven't got to compromise anymore because we're all a bit more switched on. We all know what we're doing. We're a bit more hands-on with the production side of it, whereas before we might just sort of let ideas get away from us, let the song run away from us, and it's a lot more focused now, I think.
I think the problem we had the first time is we never stopped, literally never stopped. Like, there was no sort of... We didn't give ourselves time to think about how we should be doing things or what we should be doing.
And more reflection on stuff we've already done either.
Yeah, it was literally, you know, here's a bunch of songs, we get in the room, we learn them, we record them, we put them out, we tour them for a year, we finish that tour, process starts again. And it was just, you know, we know that we didn't stop, we didn't think, we didn't take our time with things, and in a lot of ways it worked because our sort of fan base was built really organically. It was literally, you know, like how they say to you, like, you know, you need to just keep going around the country and doing it that way. Well, that's what we did, and it worked. Like we'd do a run in the country and we'd play to like 5 people a night. Next time we go, there'll be 20 there. Next time 50. By the 10th time you've been there, sold out. You know, and that is the way we did it. It was ridiculous the amount we toured. We just kept going round and round and round. Yeah,
pretty much, and yeah, just force it down people's throats basically. But it worked.
Yeah,
with the exception of places like fucking Mr. Smith's or whatever that was, where Bournemouth we played to like the same bar staff and a dog.
Manchester Academy on the Sunday night with a perfect circle to like 5,000, whatever the cap of that place is. The Monday night we played Bournemouth, Mr. Smith's, literally to one man, his dog, and the bar staff. And we were like,
Huge contrast between
Fucking
the
hell.
two.
And the next time we went there, we thought, right, we'll have bar staff, man, perhaps 2 dogs, 10 people. I don't think the dog and the man turned up then. It was just the bar staff. We played some, and Shuri was there. We played once, and the staff didn't even watch us either.
No, I don't know what it was about that place. Like, our agent just kept putting us there. And we must have played it about 7 or 8 times, and nobody ever came to watch us. Yeah, we just kept going back, like.
But other people on the circuit at the same time all said the same thing. So how the venue was open as long as it was, if he's just hemorrhaging money playing bands.
Sorry?
It has gone since then, that venue, I guess, probably.
It'll be a miracle if I still here, tell me now.
I have to look into that later,
Yeah, have a look.
Yeah.
And it was a really good venue as well. Like, it was really cool. It's a little stage, but it was a nice little punk rock venue, you know what I mean? But just no one ever came. We used to go to a club night after, didn't we? And the club night would be fucking rammed to the rafters for the fucking rockers and emo kids and all that shit. But none of them would go to the gigs. They just want to listen to the My Chemical Romance with the big speakers instead. Yeah, there was a few of those. Yeah.
Were there any particular towns that you prefer playing over others, or better reception, better crowd?
We always done well in Yeovil before the event, which we won't speak of.
Yeah, Yeovil was was awesome for us. I can't. What was the first venue?
Flicks.
Flicks. That was awesome.
Flicks was class.
You'd always pretty much guarantee a sell out there, and then fuck it.
Ski lodge.
Yeah, we did. We had a New Year's Eve show booked in the ski lodge in Yeovil, which was, I think it was 600-700 capacity. It was pretty big. When we were headlining, Bring Me the Horizon, Sporting. Who else? There's a couple of sort of.
I can't remember now.
That's a pretty big name drop, mine, isn't it?
No, there was. They were the secret guests, and it was supposed to be our big reveal with our new name.
Yeah.
And it ended up being what nearly killed us off.
Yeah, so we went through a period of time where we were thinking maybe the Midasuno name is sort of tarnishing us.
Cursed, so to speak.
Yeah, because it was the glass ceiling that we were just hitting and we couldn't break through.
I suppose at that time there was a lot of bands rebranding behind the scenes, coming back, getting deals, doing well. Like Billy Talent, no one remembers them when they were Pairs or whatever the fuck they were called. Yeah. But there's a couple of bands who now obviously had Jeff Kiljohn and Bring Me the Pull Off My Valentine, bloody White Rabbit and The Automatic, and it just seemed to be it was the name and the association, and people wanted to take a punt on a fresh band, and to do that you had to rebrand. And we'd just come off doing a couple of shows with Ryan from Pete's Sake.
Yeah, I remember that phase.
He'd joined for legitimate reasons. Scott had knackered his hand up, couldn't play guitar for a couple of shows. We thought, well, the only way he's going to get his hand better, we can't cancel the shows. Let's get Ryan in.
That was around the time of the Compass Point Festival, I remember.
Right.
Yeah.
I
That might have been one of his first shows, right?
Probably was his first,
Probably
I
was.
imagine.
But yeah, around that
And
time.
then the tour which the book is based on probably was his
the
first.
Midsummer Murder Tour, yeah. That was 3
Yeah.
or 4 weeks for the summer. But we were at that point where we thought, right, maybe this is what we need. Maybe we need a name change, rebrand. And we were working on stuff behind the scenes and stuff, and we had like ideas for names and shit like that. And then this Yeovil offer came in for New Year's Eve, and we were like, oh yeah, let's do it. And the plan was we'd get our shit together, we'd have a new name, we'd have some new songs, blah, blah, and it would be the big reveal. You know, this is the last ever Midasuno show, this is not, we are now whatever.
Yeah.
So that was the intention. So we got the Yeovil, we left in the morning. Left at like 7 in the morning, we had to go everywhere.
Because it was an all day, we had to get there early for a sound check or something, didn't we?
Yeah, we had to be there early because it was an all day. So I think by the time we got to Monmouth, we were so drunk that everyone was drinking each other's piss. Right? So that set the tone for the day, right? We got to Yeovil, we loaded in. They gave us our rider, which was
warm sort of
obscene for the size venue.
What's the red stripe normally? Isn't there something like that, or like
it was probably
always warm, never chilled.
I never chilled, but it
was like a slab of lager, a slab of cider, bottle of vodka, bottle of whiskey. But we had our Jägermeister stuff. They also gave us Jägermeister. An obscene amount of drink to be given bands who are known for drinking at like 10 in the morning.
Yeah, and it was about 10 in the morning we got there. We weren't on stage. Our stage time wasn't until like 1 in the morning on the following morning. So we were drinking all day. By the time it got to us, we were fucking obliterated. And the band, we were all on stage setting our stuff up. Someone came over to say like, something had happened with Scott's girlfriend at the time. I think some fella had like spat on her or something and had gone off. So Scott fucking jumped off stage, went after this fella. Whilst he's chasing after him, he trips over something, picks it up and just throws it, right? Turns out it's a pressure washer he picks up, throws it, smashes through like a 20-foot fucking glass wall, like looking out onto the ski lodge. Bouncers grab him, throw him out. He's not allowed back in the venue. This is like minutes before we go on stage. You know?
Tuning guitars time, like, and it's happened that close to the line.
Like, you know, tour managers coming back and forth saying, look, like, you can't get back in. You've got to go on. Promoters like, fucking come on, get on stage. So like, fuck it, we'll just have to do it. So we start the set without him. Chris singing. We get through Rhythm Thief, and then I think, we get through Shock Horror and Rhythm Thief.
Shock Horror and Rhythm Thief.
Gav's bass goes down in Rhythm Thief. And everyone at this point is like, you know, we're drunk and angry and pissed off. So Gav's like, fuck it, takes his bass off, smashes his gear up, goes through his rig. So it's the end of the set then. I smash the kit up. Go bomb off stage outside to see what the fuck's going on. Scott's outside tamping. I throw a punch at someone, miss everything, punch wall, break my hand. The police turn up. I'm fucking nose to nose with the bouncers over something. They put me in the back of a police van. I don't know what's going on at this point. It is just carnage, and absolute carnage. All the people from inside are coming outside to see what's going on. My old man managed to talk me out of the back of the van. We went home. Didn't get our fee, obviously, because we had to pay for the gigantic window. And then a letter came in the post about 3 weeks later saying that Midasuno from Yeovil Council, we are officially banned from Yeovil.
Oh, no way.
So we're allowed to play any fucking venue in Yeovil for the foreseeable,
should have framed
basically.
So we can never ever go back, that is it. But Yeovil was brilliant.
Yeah.
Tell that.
And it's one of them things where, in hindsight, if we'd not been smashed, probably wouldn't have happened. But similarly, if we'd gone on time, it probably wouldn't have happened because the whole day was running over by about an hour and a half. So no one's fault other than one of the support bands playing longer than they should have. But it was just one of them things where it was the perfect storm, and it's when something went wrong, everything piled on it. And I felt bad for Ryan because I think everything, like, gear all got annihilated off the PA, come over, guitars in pieces and that, and he just took his off and placed it down and turned the amp off and walked off like solemnly, because I don't think he drank, and he was looking forward to a big solo show, this big rebirth, and then
that was it for him, I think.
Yeah, of course.
He came to my house and he was like, oh man, this has been a blast, like I really enjoyed it, but I can't do this just isn't for me, like.
And I suppose the frustrating thing then was, because after it all settled back down, we ditched the rebrand, stuck to what we know, and realised, actually, no, that's nonsense. We realised that when we had those chaotic gigs, and there's plenty of them on YouTube now, where we were like a shambles because we were so drunk, or you didn't know whether we'd make it out off the stage alive, they were the ones that had the rave reviews, and they were the ones that had the hype and the buzz. And then when we sorted our lives out and we're a bit like, right, we're good now, like we went out with Brigade, and we smashed the shows on a lot of those, but some of those were the best gigs we ever played, and it was great crowds, but they were the ones where people were a bit like, oh, because they were almost expecting someone to have a glass smashed over their head, or they were expecting a guitar to be in bits. And then
it was a fair bit of that, mind, because like, you know, we had sorted ourselves out, most of us, and so they were amazing shows. But internally, it's probably the worst we ever were. Like, we just weren't. It wasn't clicking like
as a unit, sort of thing.
As a unit anymore. You know, there was tension between most of us at some point, wasn't there? You know, we were butting heads more than we ever had, and we were burnt out, man. This is what it was. It was fucking difficult watching everybody else around us, you know, just fucking it in the stratosphere, and we were just fucking banging this glass ceiling all the time, and we just couldn't get through it. And it just got to us, man. And yeah, we were properly burnt out, you know. And it just wasn't good. You know, don't get me wrong, the shows were great. It was an awesome tour. It was good fun. But it just wasn't the same. Something had gone, you know. by the time, I think that was the last tour we did.
Yeah,
That was
it was an exhausting tour, and that's the last one we done.
yeah.
But again, the shows where we were spot on, and what were probably some of our best shows, people were a bit like, because they wanted the drama and the chaos, and thinking, well, that's almost that was almost the brush that a lot of the bigger bands used when they wouldn't take us out. For instance, they say, well, you're a fucking liability, so
Wasn't
we can't.
there another story about something being smashed somewhere?
Probably.
The label sort of got a bit funny about it or something. I can remember, I read the book recently. I'm trying to think back now.
Well, still in French, Dan was hanging off the ceiling of some guy had a night off because there was a house
Chandelier or something? Or?
No, honestly, it wasn't a chandelier.
It wasn't in the venue, was it?
It was a light. No, you know,
one of the round spotlights.
It was a light bulb, just like on the stage, like
a singular light bulb.
Yeah, on a rosette thing, like.
And somebody, I don't know, it was somebody's guitar went through and smashed the light bulb.
Yeah.
The label, the gig was put on by our old label Lockjaw.
Yeah.
They were refusing to pay us, right, because they'd have to get an electrician in to sort the light out.
Didn't your dad fix the light whilst we were arguing?
Whilst this argument was going on, my old man was screwing in a new light bulb. He's like, oh, it's sorted.
Yeah.
But they were like, no, it's got to be checked by an electrician. So they were keeping the feedback from us. So it was chaos. We were arguing in the street, like shouting back and forth. We got the money off them, but then the embarrassing part, then we went through all that, got in the van, and the van wouldn't start. Well, the bus wouldn't start. So we're in the middle of this blazing argument.
Can't pull up.
Whilst we're pushing the van to try and bump start it up the road.
I forgot we wouldn't fucking start.
So yeah, it was fucking class. Remember Scott was hanging out the back of the bulkhead and he's screaming at him while we're pushing it, trying to get it to start.
Call me a fucking prima donna again.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they were that old Lockjaw thing. That's another old fucking pile of snakes. That is like. It is honestly, our entire career is like just one either bad mistake or one curse after another.
That's where this whole title has been thrown around is coming from. Is that going to be the new album title? Or
I think so.
The Curse of Midasuno? I've seen that thrown around.
It's one of those things where are you then tempting fate by addressing the elephant in the fucking room? But there was always something, like even if it was fucking trivial, like you snap a string first song, or someone's fucking missed a train, you don't end up somewhere, or fucking you leave half your gear in the vet. There was always something, whether we were in control of it or not. There always felt that there was something.
I kind of see it as if it is called The Curse of Midasuno, I think sort of taking control of it is the best way to, you know what I mean? Shining a light on it. I don't see it as tempting fate. I see it as it's just what happens.
It's going to happen anyway, so embrace it.
We have to adapt and just deal with it. You know?
Strap a saddle on it and fucking ride it out to town.
yeah, exactly.
Do you think the Yeovil band is still in place, by the way? Forgot to ask that one. Like, as of now, like.
I don't know, just try and get a gig in Yeovil.
Yeah. What do you reckon?
Yeah. Let's give it a go. Why not?
It's been a while now.
It's
been some time now.
Well, yeah, that was one of the last gigs we played in this, so it's got to be
got to try sneak back in, I think, now.
Sneak back in. Just go there on a day trip for a half and then take a photo outside.
Easy in that way, sort of thing.
Yeah, we go back for that.
Yeah.
We're a very different machine now. It's not the same anymore. Being sober and stuff is strange, but it's brilliant. And we should have done it at the time. I mean, we should have done it 17 years ago. Like.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it is what it is, you know what I mean?
So I mentioned the book a couple of times. At the time, were there any reservations, sort of, say, when it was sort of pitched as a novelist, journalist is going to be coming and join us on tour? Was it sort of, or was it a positive thing?
Honestly, brutally honest, it didn't feel like anything. We were like friends with Rachel before anyway.
Yeah.
And we knew her really well. It didn't feel like a journalist coming on tour with us to document what was going on. It just felt like a friend was just coming out on tour to hang out with us.
Yeah.
We didn't really give her a lot of thought. It got a bit weird when we came back off the tour and she was we had to go and meet her individually to do individual interviews and stuff. That was a bit awkward and
did you have to like
weird.
proofread of it at all or anything as well? Or like...
Yeah, she did. I think only Scott read it.
Yeah, we had a proofread. I suppose for me it was more, well, you were there, so whatever you've captured, I'm happy is an accurate reflection, and when you've done the interview, you're speaking to her and thinking, well, I've told you, so I've got to be happy for you to write about it. Like, I'm thinking there's no point me reading it. And on art, I still haven't read it all because I've got up to the point where I'm in it. And then having somebody else, it's like on Peep Show, we got like the interior monologue going on. It's a bit like that. So you get to it and you're in it, and it's somebody else's perspective of something that you lived, and you might have a completely different perspective on how you were perceived or how you looked or how you felt. And it got a bit weird then because it's almost like breaking the wall and stuff. And I was like, I can't do this. It's strange.
I read it. It's just a great book, and I love Rachel, and she did a fantastic job. But I read it once, and it was weird reading it because it like really upset my parents, like, because she kind of painted my dad in a weird light, and it just really wasn't accurate at all. And that was tough because like for my mother more than anything, you know. But again, you know, I suppose it's just artistic license with things. But I think maybe I should have read the proofread, I guess, because then I could have said, you know, that's not right, or take that out or whatever. Yeah. So I suppose it's on me, like, but it's you know, it's neither here nor there now, like. And it's a brilliant book. I love it, and it still doesn't seem, in all honesty, it still doesn't seem real that somebody wrote a book about us. No, it must be
pretty cool, you know. Actually, not many bands can really say that, you know.
It's strange.
Cool. The weird thing is knowing that Duff McKagan having only read it, but mentions it in his own autobiography, which is absolutely mental.
Apparently, it's like one of his favorite books of all time, like, which is crazy. Yeah. Takes on 2 and then Guns N' Roses.
Yeah. Well, he's DJ on Planet Rock now, isn't he? So
is he?
Least he could do is play one of the songs, I reckon. Yeah. Go on, Duff.
Go on, Duff, sort it out. Duff, I'm talking to you.
Yeah, so it is literally, you just feel a case of sort of picking up where you left off, but through different eyes, mainly more sober eyes, and
that's exactly
different perspective of it all. Like.
Yeah.
And do you feel that Midasuno does have some unfinished business sort of thing?
Absolutely.
Because the way it ended, like I say, I don't really remember a last show per se, or any sort of we call it a day or anything like that. It just sort of one day.
We did a show in the Barfly with Brigade, and that was the last gig we played. It wasn't intended to be the last gig we played. You know, we finished that run of shows. Then we were, I remember it was like a couple of weeks went past and we went back in to the rehearsal rooms because we were going to start working on new stuff. And Gav was just like, I just can't do it anymore, guys. It's just too much, like, you know, and things weren't great with us anyway. There was so many sort of unaddressed, like, issues that we had personally between us. Like, again, mainly down to, like alcohol and drugs and stuff like that. It was just making us not the people that we were when we started, you know? It was hard, really hard. And we were always, from day one, we always considered ourselves, we were like a gang more than we were a band, you know? If one of us left, it just wouldn't work, you know? Like when Steve left, our first thing was, we'll just carry on the 3 of us then. You know, can't replace him. But then the more we talked about it, and I remember Chris at the time, like I remember the band Chris was in and seeing him on stage and being like, fuck me, that guy's amazing. That's the
guy sort of thing, like.
Yeah, and mentioning it to the boys, and we were like, oh, well, let's just see how it goes, you know? There was like no thing like, right, we're going to get him in the band. It was more a case of, well, get him out for a jam and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
So I remember ringing him and him coming down. And we got about 4 seconds into a song, and the 3 of us just looked at each other. And we were like,
"We done Tay first because I already knew it."
Yeah,
like that's it.
I was like, "Fuck me!" It just
in Warwick all the sound
instantly clicked, you know. Not just musically, but he just felt a part of the band as well, you know. Yeah. So throughout the entire career, we've been a gang more than we have been a band, you know. And when it stopped feeling like that, it just wasn't right to just fucking carry on, like.
Yeah.
You know, so as soon as Gav said he wasn't into it anymore, we were like, well, that's it then. And there was no fanfare, no big last hurrah. We just sort of imploded and then just disappeared. So it's nice. It does feel now like, yeah, there was a lot of unfinished business because there were a lot of things we were working on at the time as well. They were really fucking cool, like new songs and stuff and ideas we had and fucking, I don't think we've ever mentioned this to anyone, but after we did split up, after a while, we did talk about maybe doing something again under a different name. Like, not a different name. It would be a new band.
It would have been a new band completely.
Midasuno
With
stuff.
all of you as well, then?
With all of us.
Okay,
yeah. It would have been brand new material. It would have been a new band. Because we thought perhaps that's it. Maybe we just need a fresh start. So I had a rehearsal space out for a couple of months and we were in there working on stuff. And it just didn't... It's cliche thing to say, the magic had gone. But it just hadn't.
It didn't feel right doing anything under a different brand. And then when it was more right, well, let's try a different approach. Let's all try doing this. And it wasn't bad. And lesser bands probably would have carried on with it, released it. But it was like, it didn't feel right. And it felt like we were not necessarily doing it for the right reasons, but it wasn't necessarily music we were all happy with either. And we think, well, if we're not happy with it, we can't put it out and expect other people to listen to it and buy into it, because you're a gang, and like I said, it was our one in all in vibe, and you can't release shit, which is why it's taken so long, I think, for us to actually all be on the same page and wanting to put new music out, because it's got to be better than what you put out previously, because if it's not, there's no point. I mean, you look at any band's back catalogue and they either reach a peak and then drop off, and in hindsight you reckon you've gone, they should have just fucking split up after that album because they'd be the perfect band. Some of my favourite bands included in that. But then if you're putting out stuff for the sake of putting it out, or because you've got a label deadline, or because you feel that you should and you've got filler, then you can't back that. I mean, there's a reason like massive bands like Foo Fighters don't play certain songs, is because a lot of them are turnips, like, and they don't like them themselves. They literally to fill a gap on an album, you know. So I'd like to think we haven't got any of that on any of the releases. Obviously the boys on When Bulls Play God, I don't think there's any filler on Songs Like Here Fuck, which is probably why it took so long to come out. But that's the vibe. It's got to be better, it's got to be an improvement, it's got to be a progression. And you're always building something. You can't always knock it down and start again, but you certainly can't have something worse or substandard. And that's the way it felt, is like nothing we were doing was better than what we'd already put out. But to distance ourselves from the Midasuno name and the Midasuno brand, it had to be something different. So you'd almost then trying to force something. And it just weren't working, it weren't coming together. So it sort of fizzled out a bit then, because none of us were sort of as enthusiastic about it, I suppose.
Yeah, it Midasuno sort of felt a bit like a dirty word to us for a long time. Right? Everybody got a bit. It was like, oh, it's just, fucking Midasuno, And it took a long time to realise again that, what we did was pretty fucking special. It took us a long time to realise that we did something really cool, and it was, And I think if we'd rushed it, like when we did the reunion shows, like I was saying earlier, that wasn't there. It was lovely to get back with everyone and play, but Midasuno still felt a little bit like a dirty word, It was nice and it was cool and it was good fun.
As well, was it, I guess?
I wouldn't say forced. Forced isn't the right word. No. It was just, we did. There wasn't as much sort of passion in it as there was when we were first around, and as there is now. It was a tiny little bit like just going through the motions, not for any reason, like not for financial gain or any shit like that. There was none of that. Like we did the second one for James, and super proud of that, and really glad we did. And it was the last time that Pipes played with us on stage as well, which was amazing to have him back doing stuff for us. Yeah. So it was great, but we could have been better, and it's bugged me ever since. So getting a chance to do this now is amazing. It feels like we're sort of rewriting our own history, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely. We're the band now that we always could have been then had we had better advice or someone to keep the fucking train on a track.
Realistically, if we'd listened better.
Yeah, I know.
Because we just didn't. We had our own. We knew what we wanted, and it didn't matter what anyone else said. Really, if it's what we wanted, we would do it. Integrity was always number one to us, and you look back, and sometimes you can keep your integrity, but also be sensible. We made some daft decisions when you look back. So, it's we'll always keep that. That will always be the same. Integrity will always be number one, but we can be smarter with it now, you know? And I think that's what we needed a long time ago. Like, we rushed a lot, and we didn't. It's just no rushing this time. Take our time with it, let things happen naturally.
I think as well, even though you're sort of not all based, within reach of each other, it's probably still easier in many respects because technology is more advanced. It probably doesn't make a great deal of difference.
Definitely, on the recording front, it's so much easier because
you wouldn't have been able to sort of exist now, perhaps though back then, sort of thing. As you,
definitely not.
No. Like I said, we were lucky.
Thousands of miles away, and
we were lucky if we could get us all in the same place when we lived in a 20-mile radius of each other back in the day. Whereas now it's almost like band time's band time, and you make the most of it. So instead of having a 3-hour practice and piss about for 2.5, you're in, and from minute 1 until the last minute, you're focused and your head's in the game and you're taking it away. Most of us have got sort of recording capabilities at home and things now, so getting ideas back and forth, fleshing out demos. The pre-production's all done almost in-house now, so we're only using proper studio time to do business, to get it down, get the standard of it, obviously release quality, make it as good as we can get it sounding, and get out of there. Whereas way back when, the only time we had studio time was when we paid for it. If it was a demo, it was literally into someone's Nokia 3210 or whatever the fuck we had phone-wise, and you build on it from then. But there was no chopping, changing, arranging, sitting with the song for a bit to listen to it and then see, okay, well, what if we halved that? What if we doubled this bit, So all of that pre-production stuff being done off the clock on our time means you get so much done when you're actually in the studio properly. And it's so helpful because Scott can just send ideas back and forth. And I mean, even with the time difference, by the time I wake up, I've got it.
Yeah, this is it.
And then by the time he wakes up, he's had our notes and he's had our revisions or our contributions, should we call them,
Working this way sort of naturally affords everybody getting an input and a say as well, which we kind of never really did before. The Scott would be, we'd all be in the room, and
it'd always sort of be practice-based.
It would be years.
The song was done, so you made the parts your own,
right?
But the song was done structurally end to end always. Whereas now, through sort of creative input or happy accidents, we've got a bit more saying, right, well, we can sit with this, that's class, but I don't think it needs to be there. Yeah. Actually, I'm going to bin that part off and move something over here, and again, more arranging and influencing and input. We haven't got a fully formed, delivered song with all parts written and done, and that's how it is. You're just learning and going out and playing,
Yeah, and I think that makes it a lot more fun as well, because I think the best thing about doing this now is that there's no pressure. Pressure's what killed us. Yeah. We always felt so much pressure to be where we thought we deserved to be, that it killed us. And now there's none of that. We're literally, the only reason we're doing this is because we want to.
Yeah. And I know he's not here, but obviously Scott being primary songwriter, there's a lot of weight of expectation when you've got 4 or 5 other people sitting around, right, what's our new stuff coming then? Yeah. When's the new stuff going to be done? When's the new stuff going to be done? And that's what it was then, because if he's not in a good space creatively and he's not writing things that he's happy with, that then stalls everybody doing new stuff. When we're all contributing, there might be 3/4 of an idea done that we can now assemble into a fully finished product because we're all pitching in and we're all getting involved. And it takes a lot of the weight off the shoulders. And again, having been in other bands where I've been the prime songwriter, collaborating is so much easier and so much better, because sometimes you will have a fully formed idea and it's done, and then it's just, okay, production notes, what are we doing here? What sounds are we going for? What are we adding to it to make it better? Whereas before it was probably quite production line. Now it's, right, we're all Michelin star chefs and we're all just fucking seasoning each other's food as it comes in,
Yeah, it worked for us. It was a brilliant way to work for us back then. There was very little thinking involved in it. It was the song, even down to the point where Scott would try in some places to fucking, he'd play drums on his teeth. He'd give me drum beats. I hear the beat like this. Fuck me.
Chatter teeth snare.
So now.
Knew what he meant though.
I did, yeah. That's the scary
as long
part.
as you can transcribe it.
Oh yeah, I did all right. So yeah, everything about it is better now. And I know it's cliche to say, I know that, but it really is, isn't it? Even down to, you know, we finally taken like our gear seriously, you know, like for the entire time we toured before, my drum kit was literally out together with gaffer tape, you know, because it'd get smashed to bits every night, and then there'd be no time or money to replace things the next night, so it would be gaffer tape together. And
on to the next one, sort of thing.
Pretty much, yeah, literally that, and same with everyone else, wasn't it? Every single day started the same thing, wasn't it? We need to find a music shop on tour.
Music shop, when we had a day off, we were over at Yeovil to attack Mike's and he was like, Mike, got some work, can you put this neck on this guitar, because this one's snapped, and rewire this one. Okay, when do you need it? Tomorrow. Oh, what are you doing, Chris?
Yeah.
And that was it. But yeah, some of the Frankenstein guitars that come out of his house just because we needed something the day after. Can you remember when Scott's dad like grafted that Ibanez neck off Glenn's guitar onto Scott's bloody Telecaster as well?
Literally just whatever we could do just to have gear for the next night. Like
that guitar's still kicking round. The guy who got Snake Mountain Studio in Abercarna got it.
Wow.
I can't remember his name now, but yeah, he had the bits off Mike that couldn't be glued back together and fixed, and he bought another neck for it and stuck it on there.
That's awesome.
Robert Frankenstein.
But we finally sort of spent money on gear now, and we've all bought decent equipment and stuff like that. And even like the first time we got in the practice room with all this new gear, and we like played a song, we were like, fucking hell, it's never sounded that good. You didn't realise how much difference even just having nice gear makes. You know what I mean? So that's why I mean by everything is better, literally from the bottom to the top, and it's really cool. It's really, really cool.
It's nice knowing I can get through a song without the guitar or the amp cutting out, let alone a set.
Yeah, and I'm not worried about. I had this cymbal once that had such a big hole, such a big crack going right around it. It lasted. There was about that much cymbal left actually on it. I remember one night just hitting it and just the entire thing just falling through. So all I was left was just a bell and all my cymbals like that all the time. It was a fucking shambles. So it's so nice now to just have nice gear.
Like a polo, like he just punched you all out of it.
And that's still knocking around. Pipesy still got that. We all signed there. We were going to like sell her off on the merch desk or something, weren't we?
I can't remember. Probably.
Yeah, but I think it's still knocking about. Yeah. The collector's item now.
Have you got any sort of time frame for new records, or is it just when it's done? Or
I think this is the hardest part of it all. Is this all got to be worked around when Scott is able to come back over and stuff like, or when we know when he can. So
yeah,
I think roughly we're looking at if we can get into the studio sort of early next year and record. And then it'll be summertime, autumn next year.
Another single dropping this year.
Definitely another single out this year. Like I said, we're in mixing that with Richard Jackson next week. Or depending on when this goes out, may have already done it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's most of the way there. It's more going back in to do revisions. Now we've been sat with it for a couple of weeks.
And then it's a completely different beast of Silhouette as well. We sort of eased people in with Silhouette to me because it's, you know, I would consider that probably one of the most radio friendly songs we've done, you know. But this next one is a monster.
Silhouette is the offering the candy at Halloween, and that's the treat. And this is smashing the kid in the face with a brick and taking it back off him.
So it's going to be fun. It's going to be nice. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes down with people, like. Because we had a lot of people coming to us with Silhouette and they're saying like, "Oh, that's like the best. That's the best thing you've ever done. That's like a full real song."
Yeah, it's got all the elements, and I suppose it's not too far from what people remember us sounding like.
It still sounds like a Midasuno song.
Exactly, but it's far enough away that if people listened to that and didn't know we were, they would buy into it. Because, we could have just rehashed Rhythm Thief or rehashed Riot or something like that, but that wouldn't necessarily be the people we are now. It wouldn't be the type of music we want to play and we want to deliver and we want other people on board with now.
And we just don't want to rip people off either. We don't want to just come back and just be flogging a dead horse of songs that are like 20 years old. You know what I mean? Like, come and see us play fucking songs that we did a million years ago when we were kids. That doesn't sit well with me. You know what I mean? If we're going to come back and do it,
come back and
Come
do
back and
it.
fucking do it, you know?
Yeah.
Write some new stuff, put some stuff out, give people something, give people a reason to keep coming to see you, you know what I mean? So that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Sounds promising, definitely.
Yeah, looking forward to it because there's loads of good stuff. Some of the demos we've had off Scott, however sort of complete they are, they sounding great, and there's loads of stuff you can do with them. And again, having the benefit of not just an extra guitarist now, but obviously having synths back on the table, because Steve's as accomplished a key player as he is a guitar player. It just frees everything up. It doesn't have to be, you got an extra person, it's naturally an extra guitar. We can chop and change, and some of them are a lot more synths driven, and there's a lot more perhaps 9 Inch Nails element coming out in some of the sound, and a bit more of the industrial side of it that's always threatened to come to the surface now feels like it's ready to punch through.
There's always fundamentals of Midasuno that like we tried really hard. It was like a purposeful decision to not try and sound like anybody. You know, we had influences, and you can listen to Midasuno songs and you can hear the bands that we were into, but nothing ever. We might just I will take a bullet saying that Midasuno didn't sound like anyone else. You know, there was nobody around at the time that was doing what we were doing, and that is as important now as it was then. You know, we're not going to come back and start, you know, sounding like fucking Bring Me the Horizon or, you know, some fucking stadium arena band just for that, you know, just to get there. Yeah. It'll still sound like Midasuno, but it's just going to be a better version of Midasuno, I think.
No, absolutely. And again, as far as originality goes, that's always been as equal as the integrity. It's more why follow a path that's already been tread 1,000 times by 1,000 feet when you can sort of forge your own. And we've always done that wherever that took us, rightly or wrongly, and sometimes that was the knife edge that it balanced on, and people want an original band but they still want it to be familiar. So when you start straying into territory that people are a bit like, oh, it's a bit different to what I'm used to now, I want something a bit safe, but we've never played it safe before. We're certainly not playing anything safe now. So yeah, I'm excited for the new stuff, and however and whenever that pans out, it's exciting to be in the band again.
Yeah, and we never really fit before anyway. We were sort of too heavy for the kind of punk and, you know, emo scene and stuff, and we weren't heavy enough for like the metal and hardcore scenes. So we were always on the outskirts of like 4 or 5 different scenes when we, you know. And
people always want to put you in a box as well, so that they can market you.
That was super. Everybody had to be post-hardcore or new metal, and that doesn't seem like it's such a thing anymore. Everything seems way more diverse now. Anyway, you know, you always see gigs and bills around the place now, and there'll be like 4 or 5 completely different sounding bands, and I think that's amazing. It's how we always should have been. So now I think it's a good time. I think now we can kind of carve our own place. You know, we don't need to fit in anywhere. Like so. Yeah, so I think it's cool because I remember some of the reviews we had back. Do you remember Metal Hammer saying we were like
Malcolm Dome when I said do sound like Stamping Ground and Corn.
Stamping Ground and Corn, right? Midasuno. Then you also say it was like one of the worst things you've ever heard.
That was the record. I think I always remember it. I remember Scott being furious as well, but paraphrasing the memo because it was the review of Till Death Do Us Party, and it was almost like what once was a promising new metal band has now turned into blah 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 blah. But I think he said if this is what we've got to come, they should rename the album Songs in the Key of Fuck All. Yeah, and that was the stinger.
No. He was reviewing the album.
He was reviewing it.
It should have been Songs in the Key of Fuck All instead of Songs in the Key of Fuck. That was stung at it.
I didn't, because I always thought he was a prick anyway. God rest his soul, and he's dead now. But he never had any kind words to say about me. And I mean, well, it doesn't mean words to. People will say horrible things about me when I'm gone, so it's fine.
But I remember NME calling us like shoegazy and having elements of Joy Division and. You know, like every like review was something you would read.
People always picked something else out of it, and hilariously, I think there's like a fan review somewhere. Or I say fan loosely. Someone have put on the Amazon review of the album or something, and I think the headline is like, people who like swearing and are from Merthyr will love this. And that's his review.
That's really
You know,
Nice.
wherever the fuck he is.
Midasuno loves swearing from Merthyr.
Like nobody else. Oh, do you like swearing? Oh, I don't swear often. No, it's like, oh, where you from? Oh, Swansea. Oh, don't listen to that. Don't listen to that. Don't even view.
Yeah, so it's just bonkers. It's always been bonkers, and it always will be. But it's a different kind of bonkers. I was like a nice kind of bonkers, you know. We're having to deal with there's different things that are like pissing us off daily, you know. But I'd rather it be like, you know, more. What pisses us off now is like, we need an important decision made and Scott's asleep. As opposed to, you know, we've got a gig and our van is on fire on the fucking M4, or, you know, we're too drunk to fucking play or something like that. So, yeah, we've grown up and...
Normal problems though, innit?
Normal problems. We have grown up, but we're just different kind of idiots now. Yeah. Yeah.
Different idiots.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm looking forward to seeing what's to come, and hopefully everybody else will be as well. And I think that just about wraps it up, really. Yeah.
Happy days. Been a pleasure.
Yeah,
Thanks very much.
Nice talking to us.
Cheers.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Good luck.
All the best. Have a good end.